Okay, just a word of warning. I did use this sleeper as a plank, and as you can see, it's broken, and that was used in the area up there over the or under the deck. I heard a creaking sound, and I decided to take it down and place it here. I jumped on it, and it broke. So don't use garden sleepers. Use good quality planks. We don't want the worst to happen. So that's the planks I used. If you're working in construction, of course, you'd have to use the proper rated planks, but this is a very good plank. It's an extendable one. Okay, I was hoping to not have to do this work. However, there were pot plants on the top of the deck, and when those plants were watered, the water went down into like a tray underneath the pot, and it would flow over and down onto the ground. That's not ideal because the water also carries dirt and microbes with it. And unfortunately, right over here we've got what I thought could possibly be rot. However, I did a test a while back and I knocked on it with a crowbar, and it does seem solid, so it seems as if the paint's just peeling back. However, I've got this huge void here, and I have to build a deck system just to repaint and repair the cracked paint. There's some concerning parts, like there's a crack under there, so I have to probably go and buy a ladder. I'm thinking I'll probably get a ladder and come up here on this one and there on that one, and come out this way with a small ladder here and something there, and then run planks across there. But I have to find out what I need. Okay, so this is the design I've come up with. It's a little bit high, but it'll be okay. So I've got planks running across here. You can see the other one is down there. So I've got these two good planks, pine planks, running across onto the bearer there, and 3 planks there. Okay, let's have a look at the damage. So you can see there, because of the water and the dirt and mud from the pot plants has been spilling over this for many years. That's the join there that was opening up. I hope it won't open up anymore, because all the pot plants have been taken off the deck. So It's another bad part just there. Okay, one of the first things you do is test that the planks are strong enough, and this is how you do that. Under a controlled situation, you bounce on the planks, but make sure you support yourself. So I'll support myself up off this area here. As we can see there, those pine wall sleepers there on this side of the metal plank, they're not sufficient. They're a bit warped, and that's the second time it's happened where my shoe has caught it. So ideally, we need good quality pine planks, the ones that are running across. I have to pick up a few more pine planks to run this way, because the area from this upright here to this next upright is I think it's 200, so I'll probably need a 36 to run as planks. That plank will stay. I'll set up another one on this side and I'll run planks across. There's like a little bit of bog there, possibly a bit of filler. That's there's old bog. And then I'll sand it with this orbital sander. Should do the job. Paint is peeling from this the metal retainers here. See that just flake off. From memory, I could have used one coat of oil-based paint or enamel paint, and that was to provide protection from liquid and water, rain, etc. But that could be too hard, and it could be peeling because of the enamel paint. Okay, that's about all I'll be doing on this, the 5th of the 10th, 2020. So I've done 1, 2, 3, 4 rows out that way. So far that's a scrape and a sand. I just had a look. The last time I worked on this deck was at the start of 2009, and I'm 55 now, and I was I think 42 then. Oh, I beg your pardon, I'm 54 now. As you get older, it all becomes type of abstract anyway. Okay, well that's all I'm doing today. Tomorrow before work I think I'll do some shopping. I've got to get some builder's bog and a few other things. Just a bit worried about, where is it now? I think it's just there. You might be able to see a little bit of possible rot, I think there, and there's one across there. Anyway, I'll fix it, so I'll see you next time. Okay, 10 AM, the 11th Sunday of the 10th, 2020, and sure enough, there is rot here, so we'll go have a look at that. Okay, that's it there. It seems to run, unfortunately, up underneath this retainer here, and we can see ideally this beam should be replaced. However, it is just this underside here. It does run into, unfortunately, underneath the support bracket there. I might be able to get away with just bogging this up, just removing the loose rotted out wood and filling it with bog. There is this cracking here. It seems to be a separate issue. See, it's similar there on this beam, but that's good and solid. So that cracking could be a separate issue. So that's the crack on our rotted out beam there, and that's fairly good. So you can see here that's got no rot, but there's a course in between the outside here and that side. There's a course of rot running through there. So that seems to be the main grain, so it'll finish about here. On the other side here, so we're looking north for perspective. On the other side, it did have some gap filler in it, but now what you'd use now is no more gaps for that. And on this side, what I do is I drill in, I put screws through here to retain the bog once it's filled and treated and filled. So I'll just use the wire brush. G'day. Okay, that's definitely the extent of it. So happy to report I don't have to replace this beam, because you can see a gap here on this piece of wood and a gap there on this piece of wood here. That means that it's all interlocking, so this piece has a piece that goes through and rests on top here, inside there. So that'd be fairly involved. Okay, so believe it or not, all the rot's out of there. There's nothing really loose anywhere there. The wire brush has got rid of any of that, so I'm just going to treat that with anti-mold. I'll spray it on throughout the weeks and should all be good. Okay, that's the main culprit there. So I'm going to get this well away from the property. So the main thing here is that the source of the moisture, which was all the pot plants and the watering, has been removed. So that's the main thing. So the rot's removed. I'll treat it and bog it and fill it, paint it, and it should all be good. So yeah, that's the deck system. I've got these pieces coming across here. They're a little bit high, and on the other side there too. I've bought 2 longer planks to span this extra length here. These are only 24s from there to there, so it's a fair way down. You want everything to be stable. Got 2 coach bolts holding the planks on. Okay, there's a bit more rot, just runs in underneath the bracket. I'll have to get rid of the bracket. Just see there, if I can get rid of that wood. The lighting's not very good. I don't know why. It's probably the direction I'm pointing the camera, but I'll take the bracket off now. Okay, 31st of October 2020. Okay, what I'm seeing here is possibly when I did the first work on this underneath of the deck here in about 2008, I think it was. I put brackets along the front, and I can see that what could possibly be happening now is the moisture and the dampness and rain come down, and the bracket acts as a bucket and keeps the moisture in there. So unfortunately that's got to come off. They've all got to come off. The screws I use don't have much of a head on them, if you like, so it's quite hard to get the screws out, plus it's hardwood, so that's a bit of a problem. These bearers check in at the top point, although they're not exposed on the outside, so they're only just hanging on there, and I'm thinking, what's actually keeping this side on with this side? And I couldn't really find anything. There are coach bolts in the tops of the posts, although you would think that they could lean out. However, they do have to come off to stop any sort of rot seeping back along the bearers. So I'll go ahead and do that now, and just pray to God that the design isn't flawed, and the outside bearer along the front there won't actually come away. It won't, I know it won't, but yeah, okay. So that's what I'm talking about there, that the water comes down from the deck, because that's the outside there, and the water comes down and sort of congregates or collects around this point, and it acts like a bucket and soaks along here. So unfortunately they have to be removed. There's a joint there that I'm a bit concerned about. I may have to no more gap the outside, but possibly leave this open so any moisture can get out. So yeah, along this side, that's pretty well sheltered. So I'm thinking these brackets, those brackets can stay on. But I suppose if we've got these posts, outside posts checking in with a coach bolt there, then the front can't really go forward. But anyway, I digress, and I'll remove these brackets. Well, it's the 1st of November 2020, and it's been raining through most of this project. Luckily it's just under shelter, so the deck doesn't get too wet. For historical records, this is sort of like, I think the US presidential election is tomorrow or something like that. Anyway, I've got the brackets off up to here, so it's just that little section there, and that's half off. It was hard to get the screws out because this is very hardwood, and they were all lodged in there pretty well. So now I'll get the orbital and belt sander and sand this up, because the other layers of paint have built up here, and you can see that where the bracket was there, and there's this wood here rotted away a bit, so that's what it is. That's my scaffold coming across the beam there to a ladder, and then go along here. This is how I check for rot. In an area of rot it'll sound different, it'll have a lower tone, and good healthy wood will have a good solid tone to it. So I think I'm pretty confident of it now being pretty good. All the areas of rot were fixed up, and I'll just check this section where the plank is for any signs of rot. Okay, so today, and now it's nearly 5 p.m. I got the brackets off, except the last two in that last section there. I got it tidied up and sanded, and I was able to sand underneath here, under the deck and the bearers, up to approximately that post there. So tomorrow it's just along this edge and that section there, and now what I'll do is I'll spray that with anti wood rot spray along there. If you do install these bearers along here, so you can check up underneath and work on your deck, I highly recommend that you have it above head height, so you can let my boo-boo be your benefit. So that is to say, when you're standing on the plank, your head should be clear down here and you can reach up with your arms to do the work. Say for instance you've got a ladder here set up and you're pretty sure that it's at the right height that you'd like to work on, and your feet are at that height. Come off that line to the okay, well it's now the 2nd of the 11th 2020, and I'm having a look at these brackets here. I'm thinking, well, I must have put them on and them on. However, these would have put on, or would have been put on, around about the time that the house was built, and they're a smaller type of bracket. So they're the originals, and I'm assuming that this deck was built on when the house was built, but not necessarily, although there is a sliding door, but that could have been shut permanently until this was done. I'll put the brackets on here thinking there should be brackets on there if there's brackets on there, but I think that they knew about the brackets retaining the moisture because it's more exposed on this side, whereas this is against the house, and that's the reason they didn't put them on there. The cheap paint is more brittle than the more expensive paint, I'm thinking, and this was actually fairly well cracked, and it didn't well adhere or bond to the metal brackets. So I've removed a lot of that, and that's why you can see a lot of the exposed metal there. That just flaked straight off. Like I've said before, if I could do this work again, I would have used more expensive paints, and I would have mixed anti-mold into the paint, and that would be for inside the house as well as outside, although it would have cost, I'd say, possibly 3 or 4 times the amount in paint. So it's easy to say when money's not so important. So anyway, I'll sand up these little sections here, and then it's over to the last bit over there, and this I haven't yet gone over it with a brush, but I'll brush it off and just remove any debris, dirt, or spider webs. Okay, so now I've got to build a small plank system just in that corner over there. And I've got a feeling that this plank here will probably come in handy. I thought it was a waste to get it, but we'll see. But just a reminder, with rot, to fix it, what you have to do first is remove the source of water. So, you know, if it's exposed, get rid of the rot, bog it up and paint it, seal it. You know, use whatever you think's best. You could even use fiberglass resin. You could paint it with fiberglass resin, for instance, to get rid of the water source. If there's pot plants and that's the source of water, is the watering, get rid of the pot plants, get rid of the water. So that's what you have to do first. That's my base for the ladder. Both the front and back are supported. However, what you would need to do is use bags of sand to pack bags of sand up against the side there and here, just to make sure none of that moves. I've got a bag of sand there. I just haven't had an opportunity to go shopping. Otherwise I'd have, say, a bag of sand on either side underneath here, just to make sure the planks don't move. Okay, so that's prepared except for washing it with hot water and soap. Now, even that's prepared, just this section here, and I notice there's a few bad areas there, but we'll get to that in a sec. Always take the initiative and protect yourself. Hearing protection, eye protection, and skin protection. Just like to say at this point, if you're asked the question, can you compete with somebody that doesn't protect their hearing, their skin and their eyes? No, you can't, so don't try. Okay, always protect yourself. Never remove this protective part. That's so that you can put it down on the ground and the blade won't hit the ground. I'd also like to say that throughout time it's been proven that any tool I buy that I need for maintenance or to do work around the house has never ever been a waste of money, ever. So if you need it once, you'll need it many times. I wouldn't buy high-end expensive tools. This is GMC. However, if you buy cost-efficient tools, say for instance in Australia, there's a brand name called Ozito. If you were to buy tools in that price range, it's never ever a waste of money. So you can confidently buy a low-end tool that's got a good name, and you'll know it's never a waste of money. I might spend a little bit more time on that subject. These are all tools. That's my art over there, but these are all tools here. Okay, that's my sanding belt, my orbital sander, grinders. I've got two grinders, one with a thin tip and one with a diamond blade tip. So this is the main core here of my tools. I've got drills. Some of this I picked up when I was driving the garbage truck. This one, for instance, is good. You need that every now and then. It doesn't need a battery. This is a cutting tool. It's got a cutting blade on there. Jigsaw with the blade here. That's reciprocating. A strong drill for mixing or whatever you have to do. A big cutting blade, diamond tipped cutting blade on that one, and just generally all these tools, drop saw, the big powerful jackhammer. Okay, so never a waste of money, ever, and they're used time and time again. So I've said it a few times now, if I was shifting a house, what would I take with me? I'd take my tools, I'd take this chest of drawers here with paint stuff, plumbing, paint. This is a collection of odds and ends that I use from time to time, and these here are my bolts and screws and nuts. However, if you do live in a unit and you pay body corporate, which these days I can recommend, I can't highly recommend it because I haven't lived in that situation, then you don't have the need for tools, maybe a screwdriver set and a socket set for your car, and that'd be it. Okay, so anyway, now I've left this plank here when I was driving the garbage truck, and I brought stuff home which is in the long run proven itself to be very worthwhile. I picked up that old plank there that was left out in the weather, and it did weaken so that if you when it was together with the other part before it was sawn down, it would crack a bit, make a cracking noise if you stood in the middle. However, for a short plank like this one, it's ideal. So that's been cut down. These planks I had for the first section there, which had the shorter, I could use the shorter planks. I put them here, and this is ideal. Unfortunately, the weather's been quite bad. I never complain about rain because rain is needed so that fires don't start, etc., and the plants can grow. However, it's fairly dim, there's not much light, but that's not a real problem. So the worst section looking at this is through here. Just trying to get a bit of focus on that. It won't focus, however, that's sufficient. So I don't think there's any rot there. I'll get my hammer out and test that. All the back here is okay. So yeah, that's all right, and I'm pretty confident this is all okay. Just looks bad with the paint peeling like that. It's low quality paint. Maybe something like Dulux would have more flexibility over time. Anyway, there's only one way to test it. And that's with a hammer. So okay, that's all good. So I'll just be scraping this back, sanding it, brushing it off, and washing it with hot soapy water. Okay, it's now the 3rd of the 11th, 2020. So now I've just washed and scrubbed with dishwashing liquid and hot water just to clean it up. You can see there that a lot of that residue on the beams has gone, and now all I have to do is wait for these exposed areas. Some of them had wood rot in them, and I've got to wait for them to dry, and then that's got to be treated with that spray on rot preventative solution twice, so it's got to dry out. I've got to spray it all along there and anywhere else, and then that's got to dry. Then I've got to spray it one more time, and then I can paint. Okay, it's the 7th of the 11th 2020, and today after work I came home and I treated all along here with Mould Action. I'm not being paid by Mould Action, but am I promoting Mould Action? Yes, I am, because there's nothing else to use, and I hope that it works. One thing I can say about Bunnings is usually when you buy from Bunnings, the products you get are going to work. However, having said that, they do need to educate themselves about the intricacies of the transport industry. So that's been treated once. Today's Saturday, and tomorrow is Sunday. I'll treat it again. So, you know, because the soap and water may have washed it off or whatever, but I'll treat it twice. Then I'll do the bogging up and painting. Now, one thing I want to point out is the danger of using planks. Never ever use a garden sleeper as a plank. Okay, I'll demonstrate that now. I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so that's specifically exactly what I'm talking about. What I did was, before I used the plank, I put it across here, from this stone here across to there, and I jumped on it and it cracked. And what would have happened is, if I was standing on that plank, I would have fallen down there. So one does have to be careful. These are the planks I'm using here. I think it's 45, could be 45 by, I don't know what the width is, but it's a good width, and I use 2 of them. I can't recommend that other people use this. I can recommend that people use a plank like this. So just quietly, there's the other plank. That will be thrown out, or I'll spray on it. Only use as a garden sleeper, not as a plank. But yeah, so that's the lowdown and our lessons for today. Okay, it's 8th of the 11th 2020, and I'll just spray them away along the exposed wood, and then tomorrow I should be able to apply the bog, and who knows, maybe even give it a lick of paint. Okay, for this obviously you're going to need lung protection, proper lung protection, not just a paper filter. You're going to need a spray bottle, but other than that, just protect your eyes and your skin. Okay, well, it's Monday the 9th of the 11th 2020, and today's bog day. So when I get a system going, I'll film a bit more of that. Okay, now for the next section. That's the most involved section. So what I'll do is I might drill a few very small holes, and I'll attach some screws along here just to hold the bog. So there's this main section here, and this bit under here. Come around this side. This is another section that's completely treated and ready for bog. And along here, I think there's just three. There's this little bit here. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so that's ready. I've just pre-drilled it and put the screws in. Okay, it's going to be a little bit hard to film this work because I'll be on the run. I'll see what I can do. Okay, so what I did was I didn't just apply it, you know, up this on this direction with the scraper and that direction. I actually I had the thicker yellow gloves on because these will tear, and what I did was I literally rubbed it all along in the grains of the wood, around the screws. It's a screw there, and then I applied it so that it's bonded well with the wood. So now I'll do the rest of it. Okay, there's two sorts of bog you can buy here where I live in Sydney. There's this plastic type that's very expensive. This one's about $30. I think the can this size is about 60. However, they didn't have that where I shopped. I think it was a couple of days ago. This one's not the plastic one, but it'll have to do. So that's just easy. You just got a message on my phone, but that's besides the point. You just put it onto a surface and you work this this hardener into it. You don't need much, and that's your bog. Okay, so I've just got my bog, and just apply the plasticizer. You don't need much. Just say that's quite liberal. In other words, that's quite a lot, that amount there. So I usually just get a piece, another part, put some on top, and then start working it in. So I'll do this in real time. It's just a matter of flipping it over and making sure it's completely mixed in. Like so, different directions, and that's just about it. A little bit of red just there, so a bit more mixing. You don't have much working time. The more hardener you put on, the less amount of working time you've got. Okay, it's the 14th of the 11th 2020. I've got my planks set up, and I'll just go over this section, make sure it's ready for painting, and we'll see what we get done today. Sunday 15th 2020. What I did today was I painted all through the underneath, so that's all got new paint on it. So ideally the exposed wood needs 3 coats, so tomorrow morning I'll do along the front there, and the posts. The posts have been washed down with a scrubber and a mixture of dishwashing liquid and bleach and hot water. So all the posts have been washed down. I've just got to finish off these 2 today, and that's where it's at for today being Sunday. Tomorrow's supposed to be pretty hot. I think 35 degrees. So I'll do the posts and along the front tomorrow. Okay, well yesterday was the 16th, and it was very hot in the morning, but later on it cooled down during the day. But of course it was at its hottest while I was painting, but I did paint along the front there and the posts. So the posts have a coat of paint, and yeah, they're looking much better for it. So coming weekend I have to do the very bottom of the posts. You'll probably see some rust. Oh, where am I? There we go. Let's focus it. So the bottom of this one's pretty good. So that was probably anodized. Also, this one here is under the earth, which is not ideal, so I have to just get that earth away from there. Yeah, so that was yesterday, and that's the very latest. Okay, I'm able to wrap this video up. It's Wednesday the 25th, and on a few days ago, on I think it was Saturday, I just finished a few things. There was just an area here that wasn't neat, so I neatened that up and painted it. There was a gap at the top of the post there, and I filled that in and treated the these brackets. They weren't too bad. There was just a little bit of rust. Okay, so that's it. It's fairly early in the morning at the moment, so it's just a matter of putting the planks away and just reattaching these pieces of wire. So that's the planks. I've got to find somewhere for all that. That's too heavy to put on the bearers on the inside roof, so don't know where they're going to go. Maybe under the house. So that's it. Didn't take as long as I thought it would. I had a few days off, which is very welcome. So yeah, all good. Over and out. Have a good